And as if by magic.
Well, hopefully. And yes, we are live. And guess what? No, we are off there. I'm making sure I have my phone off. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Well Expo webcast. And today it's all about hypnosis, which I am really, really excited about, because it is something that I'm sure a lot of people have been kind of, well, I've heard of it, I'd be afraid of it, and I don't really know what it would do for me, and could I use it, and would it help, and all those other questions that go along when you're looking at something new. So we have Turan here of Feel Good Hypnosis, and you're all the way up in Belfast.
I am just outside Belfast, close to the loch, down outside Glenavy / direction, if anybody knows where that is at all.
The internet brilliant,
isn't it?
When we can chat like this. Turan, you are so welcome to today's webcast.
Thank you.
So I suppose the very first question, what is hypnosis?
Well, hypnosis is everything that you don't see in Hollywood.
That's what I was hoping you'd say.
Indeed. Hypnosis is simply about engaging your mind, engaging your unconscious mind to the point where it becomes your reality. And when you totally believe in what you're engaging in, then that's what hypnosis is. I mean, at times I'll say the phrase, if you ask 100 hypnotists, you'll get 100 different answers, but that's my answer. There's so many facets to it. And I think this is one of the main problems in life, is that people just think there's one thing and one way of doing it, but hypnosis encompasses so much more. So it's really about engaging, talking to you in a way that, you know, aligns with your mind and how it's thinking.
Yeah, because one of the things that I was thinking, and actually when we were chatting the other day, I was saying to you that, you know, it was kind of the language behind hypnosis and being able to talk to the client. As I said to you, like, okay, I'm a coach. I'm not everybody's coach, and neither is every client my client. It's all to do with the language and how we work with that person and how we explain what it is, what we do, and they discover, okay, well, yay or nay. So there's an awful lot of language around hypnosis. And I think, as you mentioned there in your intro, it's not Hollywood.
That's it. And again, I say to people, and I say it with an element of jest, but some people believe so many, you know, bad misconceptions. I say to people, it's not about the beams that come out of my eyes. It's not about the magnetic forces that come out of my hands. You know, it's just about how I communicate and connect with you. And the main way we connect is through language, through speaking, and understanding how people speak and understanding how people think. So it's really about looking at their language.
Yeah, and your son does it with you as well, doesn't he?
Both sons.
Sorry. Yeah, the videos I saw one son in the videos on your YouTube channel there.
One son's about, so when I was starting out, and it's a funny story, because when I was starting out, my son said, you know, this is not hypnosis, you know, because I was working with nieces and nephews, and he says, they just don't want to be rude to their uncle. They're just being nice to you. And there I said, then one day I hypnotized my sister-in-law, and well, let's just say, this is going to be on Facebook, so I need to be careful what I say here. But she wouldn't do anything just to please me. Put it that way. She wouldn't do anything just to please me. So when my son went, wow, you know, she couldn't do this and she couldn't do that, that this hypnosis must be real. So he started to learn it, and I taught him. So right from, this is way back, yeah, I've been doing it for 2 or 3 years. By 2013, him and I went out just on the streets of Belfast just to hypnotize people, just to practice what we were learning. And so he's been there from quite the early age. Then my other son, he came along and you know, wanted to learn how to do it. So he's now hypnotizing people as well. They would come along at maybe trade shows or things like that there, where I'm talking about hypnosis and helping out. But they don't do it as part of my business. But they're in the t-shirts, you know, and you saw the front and the back there earlier. They were showing you that it's well branded.
Oh, you're so well branded, yes.
And apply the flag for Feel Good Hypnosis, which is the brand name. And I call myself Feel Good Hypnosis as a sort of sole trader company, because Turan, Mirza, as much as it's easy to say, people sort of look at that word and how do you pronounce that name?
I was just going to ask you, like, purposely didn't pronounce your surname because I didn't want to get it wrong. You know,
Indeed. So it's Mirza, Mirza. So some people see the I in Mir, so it's a hard I, or some people do the German thing with the Z and Mirza. So rather than make people struggle with it, I mean, since in school days, teachers calling out at the front of class, they never got it right. So it's easier just to say Feel Good Hypnosis. And bottom line is that's how you're going to feel after you have hypnosis. So
yeah, actually you have some great videos up on your channel and on your website page, and when I was looking through them, and you do actually say that it's not always just one visit that something can be sorted or solved. Sometimes it'll take a couple of visits, no more than with coaching. But there was one I watched right through, and there was a lady had been carrying an issue for 30 years. And you then gave her a gap. That you went back to her about 4 months later or thereabouts then to see how she had been getting on, and I thought that was absolutely fascinating.
Yes, there's several lovely videos up on the YouTube channel. Again, just search for Feel Good Hypnosis and you'll find the YouTube channel. And what's lovely is about hypnosis, it doesn't matter whether you're carrying an issue for 30 years. There's another one for fear of heights. She was carrying that issue for 15 years. Now,
and that one, yeah, just as you mentioned that one, because I watched that one, it was actually impacting on her family, because there was a particular restaurants that she pointed out in the video that they couldn't go to as a family. So therefore the children now were being impacted by her fear of going up to whatever floor it was that the restaurant was on in the building.
Indeed. Again, we're touching on several points here. Try to remember the first point.
Sorry.
You're right. It's a fascinating subject. I love talking about it, so don't worry. We'll fill in the half hour. The key thing about the 30 years, it's people think, oh, I've had an issue for 30 years. It's going to take like 3 years, at least 10% of that time to overcome that issue. Same with the 15 years. Oh, must take a year of therapy to work through this. The key thing is, when you have an anxiety, when you have an issue in life, you learn that in a millisecond. Something happened in a moment of time, and you said to your brain, don't let that ever happen again. Protect me from that. And your brain's going to say, okay, let's say talk about spiders. Hopefully I'm not triggering any viewers on this topic, but say it's spiders, and in that millisecond you saw your mother jump up in the chair. When she saw a spider, you went, okay, I'm going to protect myself the way my mother protects herself. I'm going to learn to palpitate my heart and break out in a sweat every time there's a spider around. Even if I think there's a spider, and it might just be a ball of fluff sometimes, but even if I think there's a spider, protect me, make my heart palpitate, make me sweat. So your brain's doing it for a good reason, to protect you. And the key thing is, I said, you learned that in a millisecond, in a nanosecond of time. You didn't learn it over 15 years. So in hypnosis, what we want to do is help you connect with that moment and change that millisecond in time. And when you think differently about it, you feel better about it. And again, talking like spiders, but I guess people have said, does that mean I won't know what a spider looks like after hypnosis? It's not that you won't know what a spider looks like, but you won't have the same feelings, because you won't have that same experience that you used to have when you think about spiders. Hopefully that makes sense. In terms of the what you were talking about in terms of impacting family, this is why sort of I set up here in the corner here. It's about improving your life, improving your relationships. What I usually find is that people come to me when it's impacting beyond themselves. So maybe a mother will have a fear of water. She'll just stay away from the swimming pool. She'll stay away from water. But when the kids come home from school and say, we're starting our swimming lessons this week, the mom goes, oh, I'd better do something about this. I don't want my kids to see me not being happy with water. Same with the lovely Rosemary on the YouTube video there with fear of heights for 15 years. She only really came to me when she saw her kids starting to say, oh, Mom, there's stairs. You don't like heights. Let's move this way. And she thought, this is starting to impact my kids. In fact, she said they went on holiday and they offered her a free upgrade to like a penthouse suite. But she said, no, we'll stay on the ground floor. We'll just take our standard, flat or whatever. in the apartment complex.
So it was having such a big impact.
Yes, and so many situations, you know, again, selective eating disorders is another popular one that I work with, people that maybe can only eat certain foods, they can't eat vegetables or can't eat chips or can't eat certain things. They you know, they come to me when they say, right, I've got this new job and I'm, what do you call it, going to, you know, meetings, and we're eating over dinner and I'm getting embarrassed, I can't eat certain things. So when that sort of thing, you know, comes into people's lives, it then makes them think, I'd better change this. So my advice is always, don't wait till it impacts other people. If you have something, if you have an issue in your life, change it, be happier. I don't know if you're hearing a few notifications in the background.
I actually think that's a beep in the back of my screen. Sorry about that. I got slightly distracted there. But yeah, it was that lady. Now you were saying, you know, you bring people right back to that moment, which is where my big reveal comes in. Because when we were chatting the other day, I happened to mention to you something from my childhood in Dublin. So if anybody knows Dublin, they'll know the Halfpenny Bridge. And the Halfpenny Bridge back in the 70s had timber slats across it, all the way across the bridge. All the other bridges were concrete, but if you went through the central bank and you wanted to get over to the far side of the river, you crossed over the Halfpenny Bridge. Now, I know it's still there, you'll still cross over the bridge. But it had these timber slats. But for some reason, my feet going over that particular bridge, and it only happened, I remember, I can actually see myself that particular day as to why, I don't know why that thought came into my head. And my feet went to jelly trying to cross the bridge. And to this, well, actually not to this day, but to the other day when we were chatting, I happened to mention it to you, and you asked me what sensation. And the sensation I had as I was chatting to you was my feet were tingling like mad, because anytime I would think of that incident and crossing that bridge, my feet literally started like pins and needles and tingling and everything like that. I mean, and it's a horrible sensation. So you did your trick on me, and I can actually talk about that incident now. And I was in bed the other night going, oh, I'm going to think about this now and think about that and see if my feet, I got no reaction. I got no, you know, I got no sensations like I got before. So that was kind of my first, I'm going, oh my God, it worked. It worked. I'm delighted. Absolutely delighted.
Perfect. And thanks for giving that lovely testimonial. Yeah. I mean, and that really sums up what I've said so far. You know, it's not that you don't think of bridges anymore. You can think about that bridge. You can think about that time in your life. But what we've done is remove the feeling connected with that moment in time, or those, you know, events in time you used to walk across it.
Yeah, because I can actually see, I know what I was wearing.
That's
you know, as a child that day going across the bridge with my father. Like, I can see that moment specifically.
And hopefully you can describe for those that are listening now to this recount, you know, I first of all, there was no eye closure. Again, people think, oh, you have to close your eyes.
Oh no, there was no eye closure at all.
I carry this
just online.
Exactly. I always carry this with me just to say, I don't need a pocket watch. There was no pocket watch. There was no eye closure, and there was not a lot of detail revealed from you. No. And this is what makes hypnosis different from maybe a traditional therapeutic intervention like CBT or whatever, is that I'm getting you to connect with your feeling, and you changed your feeling, not me. So hypnosis is not something I do to you. Hypnosis was just the way I used the language and the way I used, made you think about your feeling so that you could change that and feel differently about it.
Yeah, and to anybody that's watching, like I'm a massive skeptic. Like I was reluctant, which when we were there, and for that particular incident or that particular experiment with me, that's what you want to call it, is that only took a few minutes. And that's what I was saying. They're not all going to be like that, taking a few minutes. Some, depending, I suppose, on the severity of the issue, and the anxieties or the stresses that people are coping with, it can take a few more chats with you or appointments with you.
Again, you know, generally speaking, I tell people to allow for up to 3 sessions. So that's usually my max. I work with some people slightly longer than that. And I was talking about, again, there's a lovely testimony on my website from a girl called Michelle, who was for 22 years, she was agoraphobic. She couldn't leave the house.
I saw it. Yeah.
Indeed. And if she left the house, you know, obviously she did leave the house to go to doctors, dentists, whatever. But if she did, she would have to have her mother or her sister or some other carer. And she would be anxious. She would be, you know, very tight and very, you know, aware of all the sounds and everything else. Now, I've been working with her for 6 sessions, but now what we're actually doing, the agoraphobia was sorted out in 1 or 2. We're now working with, her to, you know, learn to drive. So from going from not wanting to leave the house to being comfortable leaving the house, and the photograph she sent in of her sitting in a bar. So she's out and about and socializing now, and she's loving life. And now she wants to do even more. She wants to learn to drive, which obviously, you know, after 22 years.
Yeah, which is, I mean, that's a real kind of embrace life, go for it now, because she has overcome that fear now, and what was holding her back.
And again, it was an instance in time that you learn these things. So when I say it might take 2 or 3 sessions, and you know, don't know how you take this, but if it takes 3 sessions, it's usually because it took us 3 sessions to find that one moment.
Yeah.
And when I say we, you know, I'm working with you and lifting that veil between your conscious and your unconscious mind, so you can find that. And I always say to clients, I can't tell you how many sessions it's going to take. The videos you talked about, which was Rosemary and she's gonna kill me because I can't remember her name off the top of my head. But the lady with 30 years issue, she you know, they did take 1 session. And as wonderful as those videos are, sometimes it's a bad advert for me, because everybody expects, oh, this is just magic and it's going to happen in 1 session. The magic happens by you. Okay, I mean, I do describe it as magic, you know, but it's happening by you, within you. So I don't know how long it's going to take you to find that 1 millisecond. But
what I love, actually, when I was reading on your website, is that you prefer even to use the term, it's personal change.
Yes.
And that's what you're enabling somebody.
I don't like the word therapy. Okay, this is hypnotherapy, so I'm not doing something different than hypnotherapy. It is hypnotherapy, but the word therapy, when you Google that, it says to overcome a disorder.
Yeah.
And I don't like the word disorder. I think that's misleading, like you're broke, like you're out of order. And to me, it's just a way of thinking. Now, my background is software engineering, you know, and the way I describe it as the analogy is, you know, when I was writing software, you know, sometimes I wouldn't read what the customer wanted properly. So they might want first name, then last name, but I put last name and then first name. So when I coded that, there was no problems with the software. It did exactly how I programmed it to. There was no problems with the computer or the screen or the keyboard or the mouse. There was no disorder. It was doing exactly what I programmed it to do. I just programmed the wrong thing. So I just need to go in and change the first name to last name, swap them around, and I reprogrammed it to do what you wanted it to do. And that's the way I think. So that's why I call it change work, hypnotic change work, or personal change, rather than therapy. It's too much fun to call it therapy, I think. When you think of therapy, you think of 2 years of sitting in an office and lying on a couch. And again, as you said earlier, I work over, especially in the, you know, I've been doing this before COVID-19, but, you know, in the last 5-6 weeks now, working a lot with people on Zoom. And so it doesn't need to be lying down on a couch. You can just sit in a comfortable chair. If you look at my YouTube channel videos, you know, I'll hypnotize people standing up in the middle of the streets of Belfast. Now, I'm not going to do...
No, I saw, and actually on that kind of light-hearted side of what you do, there are some lovely street videos of you, actually you and the boys out on the street.
That's it.
Yeah, and they're funny.
I sent you one, but because you said you were a skeptic, and again, a lot of people are skeptical about hypnosis. There's a lovely video, I don't know if you watched that one, about the lady that says, I don't think it works on me.
That was my next question.
That's it. So again, hypnosis works on everyone, basically because it's a natural phenomenon. Everyone goes into hypnosis, believe it or not. Everyone that's watching here, you and I, we all go into hypnosis about 8 or 9 times a day, naturally. It might be, and hopefully this will resonate with most people, okay, we're in a lockdown situation, but if you're driving off to the shops or driving off to work, you might get to work or you might drive back home in the evening, you close the car door and you go, did I even get in the car there? I'm home.
That's a horrible feeling.
That's it.
Yeah, that sensation of, I've already passed the house, or I've already passed. Yeah, and you kind of get that few seconds.
Or you're driving along a motorway and you miss the junction. You go, oh, I was supposed to turn off at Dublin, or whatever. That's because you've tranced out. You've gone into that hypnotic state of focused attention because you're thinking about one thing. Now, the good news is your unconscious mind is still controlling those legs and those pedals. Your unconscious mind is still getting all that input from your eyes. So if a dog was to step off the pavement, you would jar. And again, sometimes you're driving along and you go, oh, where'd that dog come from? You didn't see it, but your conscious mind went, I see that dog. It's fine. It's fine. Oh, it's about to jump off the pavement. I better give your conscious mind a nudge, and you go, oh, where'd that come from? But it was always there. You did see it. You know.
So are you finding now then, because obviously, you know, we're in lockdown, so there's a completely different set of stressors and anxiety now that people are coping with. And, you know, I kind of feel myself that it'll only be when we come out the other side that people are actually going to realize how stressed they were, in fact, going through it. So are you finding a difference then with clients now coming online because of the current situation?
Well, yes and no, because, you know, again, daily, for the last 4 years, you know, I've been working, I've been doing this for about 10 years, but I doing it full time for the last 4 years. And the issues that people have now are the issues that select people had all the time, like Michelle, you know, this uncertainty about going outside. Now it's a different uncertainty, but it's still about working with uncertainty. It's still about how you think. And again, people say, do you have a particular specialty like weight loss or stop smoking or teeth grinding or something like that there? And I say, yeah, I've only got one specialty, and that's how you think. You know, so no matter what the issue is, it's again, as it comes back to that word of change work and personal change, it's reprogramming the way you think. So yes, a lot more people are focusing on the claustrophobia of being in the house due to lockdown, that uncertainty of what's going to happen next. Again, I've done a specialist blog, and there's some download audios that you can get for free from a website. I'm not even looking at an email sign up at this time. Just go along to the website, download the audio and listen to that, and read the blog and just get some advice from there. But
yeah,
yes,
that's a great resource actually to have up there for people, because they know they can just go on and click onto feel-good.today.
That's it. It's there.
That's why I had to just look across my screen just to make sure I got it right. Feel-good.today, and that audio is there and downloadable for them. Just to
Indeed, I would go to the blog, read the blog. So there's a blog section on my website. Go to the blogs and see the one on uncertainty. I've just done one on relationships, and just how to make sure that you come out of this at the far side. Again, I noticed that a lot of people I was working with, it's just my partner's stressing me out, and you know, issues along those lines as well. So I put together a blog and a specialist audio tape just for relationships. So read the blog. I recommend you read the blog, but there's also you can get the audios directly going through the books and free stuff.
Yeah, and actually, I'll be going on myself, because I tell you, well, and I'll tell you why, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, because I have, you know, and a lot of people would know, say locally or whatever, like I have grown up children who have now had to come home to work from home. Yeah. I was delighted when they had moved out a few years ago and Mammy was starting to kind of, I suppose, flourish again in her own space. And now that's, you know, that's in this house. Now for other families, I know it's with smallies or whatever, but for me, it was actually having all these adults back in the house under the one roof. So that kind of parent, it's not so much parent-child anymore relationship, it's adult relationship, and reminding them every so often, I'm your mother.
Well, that's it. It's about changing of dynamics, and as you said, you've got that certain freedom, you've got that new way of thinking, and this becomes very jarring and it feels uncomfortable. And it's the same, you know, if you have a fear of heights, or let's pick it more obvious, if you've got fear of planes and you're happy enough just to go to Donegal or go to Cork or whatever and enjoy yourself and not, you know, get on a flight, then fair enough. You don't need my help. But some people I work with are so phobic that even watching a TV program, if they see an airplane taking off, they get those panics, they get those negative feelings. And that's what you want to stop. I mean, it was clear, and the reason I, you know, helped you out was because just talking about, oh, don't mention it because I'm getting bad tingles on my feet.
Oh, my feet.
There you go. You know, so you know, when just thinking about things becomes such an issue, it's time to change it. You know, and life is too short. Even in the video. Oh, you know, she's going to kill me because I still can't remember her name, and I know her well now. The 30-year.
Was it Valerie?
It was. Oh,
I know. Here we go. Look.
Need a bit of hypnosis.
It's there on the site, and it's there on your, was it YouTube channel or was it your website? I saw that one. I can't remember which one.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's on the YouTube channel and it's on the website.
Yeah.
But
no.
The thing is.
Sorry. Go on.
Yep. No, it's just that she said, you know, when I met you, I thought he might be able to help with this issue, but it took 3 months before she contacted me, and she says that on the video.
That's right.
And that is quite a common thing. The lady I worked with 2 days ago first contacted me. She had, you know, legitimate other issues and reasons why she didn't come back, but she contacted me in 2017. When she connected with me on Facebook, you know, last week, she says, you know, I was talking to you in the past, and I looked up a few messages before that, and the last post was in 2017. So sometimes, you know, people have these issues and think, you know, I'll think about it. But the advice on the video and the advice I'm giving people is don't let it stand in your way. It's about feeling happy, feeling good about yourself. And, you know, the whole crux of that is, if you're unsettled, if you have a fear of flying, and bad analogies with the COVID-19 right now, maybe, but you get the idea. If you have a fear of flying and you have to go on a business meeting to London next week, all this week, you're not as productive in your business. You might go home and be more grumpy because you didn't get that report done that you need for the flight to London next week, all because of a fear of flying. So while fear of flying might not seem a business-related issue, you know, if you have to travel, even if it's once a year and you're thinking for the last 2 weeks about that, it's impacting your life, it's impacting your home life, as we already talked about, impacting the kids, you know, and they're picking up on these things because you're the biggest hypnotist. You're the biggest hypnotist to your children, you know, whatever age they are.
I tell you, I know one thing, this conversation could go on for another half an hour, but we have reached the end of our slot today. And Turan, I tell you, fascinating. I will be in touch with you at some point. I will, yes. And yes, we'll do a video and all. Like, well, you have today's feedback anyway from my feet. My feet, thank you as well. I hope everybody enjoyed that. We see if there.
We have a couple of questions. Yes,
we have some questions, Turan.
Yeah. So, how are fears learnt? Is it nurture or nature? Do they have to have had a shock?
No, again, I don't know how much time we have. I've got a lovely analogy, but they're, again, as I said, they're learned in an instance, and they're learned, you know, you're not born. You know, there's some background in terms of how things are passed through your genes and through your DNA, but for the most part, people learn them in their lifetime. Whether it's, as I say, you saw your mother jumping up on a chair when she saw a spider, so you went, right, that's how you react to spiders, or you know something happened in your life, so you learn them. For the most part, when I'm working with people, it's about recognizing an instance in their life in which they learned it. So hopefully that answers it quickly.
And from Sarah Anderson, hello all. Any tips on how we apply some of these principles and tools ourselves at home?
Indeed. Well, again, I've already said, go to my website, download the audio, and that takes you into a nice, restful self-hypnosis for about 20 minutes. And again, it's not about listening to this every day for the next 20 days. Listen to it when you can and as much as you want to feel better about yourself. As I said, again, you know, lots of tips just about breathing and about being aware of your feelings, you know, because you can't change them if you're not aware. But so many times, your clients will come in and I said, well, what do you want to change? Oh, I want to change this feeling. Where is it? Oh, I don't really know, because they haven't thought about it before. I mean, it was the same when I asked you, where does it start? And you went, well, it's in my feet. You never really thought about it before. So be aware of those feelings. Again, to keep the answer short, check out the blog. There's a blog on uncertainty during the COVID-19 time on my website. So do check that out, feel-good.today. Check out the blogs. And
just one last one. Is there an age limit?
Yes, you must be greater than 0 and less than 150.
So would you work with, actually, that's a good question. Would you work with children?
I do. I do work with children, and I've worked with children as young as 4 years old. And I've worked with people up to 82 so far, but that's not the limit. So I'm always saying 4 is probably getting close to the lower limit. But let's talk. If you have an issue and have an issue with the children. Now, I'm going to say this. Sometimes when people come to me and say, you know, can you help my children? They're doing X, Y, and Z. And I said, let's you and me have a session first. And many times when I work with the parents, ta-da, the kids all of a sudden change. Say no more. Sometimes we are the problem as parents. So I judge that. You know, I do work with kids, and I work with kids a lot of like I don't know what the equivalent is down south, the transfer test exams and things like that. There, anxiety or transfer tests. Even, you know, people doing accounting exams and other professional exams. Work with people on those sorts of issues as well.
That's brilliant. Turan, Jeannie, like I said, this absolutely, I think, Esther, this one could go on all day, but it stays up on our Facebook page, right. And I'm working on last month's videos, getting them up onto the YouTube channel. So at some point, hopefully by the end of the month, Excellent. It will also be back up live back up onto the YouTube channel. Turan, thank you so much for coming on today.
Just to end and say, you know, a chat is free. So you've got your Facebook messengers, you've got the phone, you've got the email. Give me a shout, check out the website, give me feedback. Glad to hear your feedback and answer any other questions you might have, either through the comment section below this post or through my own Facebook channel, whatever. Lovely, you know, glad and happy to talk to people.
Absolutely, and thank you so much. And everybody, we shall see you all on Tuesday, please God. All going well. And stay safe, stay at home, and stay happy. Bye.
Thank you.